Good evening. We begin with breaking news tonight. A new and deeply troubling development announced this afternoon in the Marissa Shen murder investigation.
She's the 13-year-old found dead last week in Burnaby Central Park. And as David Mulco reports, Mounties are convinced Marissa was the victim of a random attack.
The homicide of Marissa Shen has been a crushing blow to this community.
And now, 1 week after the 13-year-old left her apartment and was found dead in Burnaby Central Park, investigators revealed this.
A review of the evidence to date indicates Ms. Shen's murder was a random attack. There have been no links made between this homicide and other reported acts of violence.
There have been several incidents of crime through the years in Burnaby Central Park. These crimes include vandalism, indecent exposure, assault, rape, and murder. There has been an outcry from the community regarding the high levels of crime within the park. The park lends itself to crime through the lens of routine activity theory and the factors that contribute to it.
The park has several different amenities that cater to the community for people of all ages and families of all kinds. These include facilities such as an outdoor pool, a pitch and putt course, a playground, an event stadium, tennis courts, a horseshoe pit, as well as several walking trails to explore the vastness of the park. There are several parking lots with many access points to enter and exit the park. The park is also accessible via a SkyTrain station that runs adjacent to the park. The park itself is located in the center of Burnaby, with two main roads running along it, such as Boundary Road and Kingsway. Burnaby Central Park is the perfect place for crime to occur under routine activity theory. Routine activity theory argues that the normal movements and activities of both potential offenders and victims plays a role in the occurrence of crime. There are three central criteria to routine activity theory.
The first criteria is a suitable target. Burnaby Central Park is a gathering place for the entire community. This includes all ages from the very young to the elderly. Elderly people are suitable targets as they often do not have the means to protect themselves from attackers. Burnaby Central Park is also a common transit zone, with several apartment buildings nearby as well as a SkyTrain system. Many people walk through Burnaby Central Park to get to their destinations. This includes young women who are walking alone, which would be considered a suitable target.
The second is a motivated offender. There are many motivated offenders for various reasons, such as an individual trying to fund a drug habit. There is no shortage of motivated offenders in the Lower Mainland. With Burnaby Central Park being very accessible with a nearby SkyTrain system, motivated offenders could very easily come to this park to carry out their motives through illegitimate means.
The third criteria is the absence of a guardian. There are various reasons for there to be an absence of a guardian. The absence of a guardian can be defined as individuals walking by themselves and/or a lack of security presence. Individuals walking by themselves through a park at certain hours of the day will be in the absence of a guardian. There's also no security guards or bike patrol throughout the park, and cameras are limited to facilities such as the swimming pool and the pitch and putt.
Due to the recent murder of Marissa Shen, the city of Burnaby, with the assistance of the RCMP, have claimed to have made the park safer with the installation of different safety measures. This includes new cameras at key access points, bike patrols, and the possibility of call boxes with direct access to the RCMP. Here is a video clip of the Mayor of Burnaby explaining the measures that they say they have implemented as of September 2018.
So we went in and began the installation of cameras, and today it's very important for us to come out and tell the public cameras are live now, and there will be continuing monitoring of that park through those cameras and the addition of more cameras over the course of time, that there will be increased lighting in the park, that there will be call boxes made available for citizens so that there are places they can go to in the park to enable them to be able to get assistance. We want to make sure that Burnaby Central Park is one of the safest parks anywhere in North America. So we've also added bike patrols from our bylaw officers in that park and other parks around the region. Further, we have added bike patrols with the RCMP.
We went to Burnaby Central Park to see if these measures have indeed been implemented. What we came across was not what we were expecting to find. Right as we entered the park, we noticed signs of homelessness just a few feet away from the parking lot. Despite being a popular place, there seemed to be a lack of maintenance around the park as we saw extensive littering. There was also signs of destruction and graffiti, including one of the washrooms being closed due to vandalism. Along with finding an individual abusing drugs on the trails, there was also drug paraphernalia scattered throughout the park.
The City of Burnaby stated there would be increased presence of bylaw and RCMP officers within the park. As we walked through the park during peak hour, we did not encounter any sort of safety patrol. With the recent increase in violence, any authority figure should be present. Another observation we made was a bottle return depot across the street from the playground. This could possibly attract substance abuse users.
Another finding that we believe is an issue is the lack of signage and mappage. It is difficult to at any point determine where you are in the park. This could become an issue when someone is having an emergency or trying to inform emergency services of their location. Another safety concern is the lighting within the park, as well as at common access points. This is a concern because lighting improves the ability to detect a crime in progress, creates better surveillance, as well as having a big deterrent impact. Natural surveillance is also affected by the thick, low-lying shrubline around the park. It is difficult to see the parking lot from the road, never mind an individual in the park. Our next issue is the cameras within the park. The only cameras that we observed were cameras that were on businesses pre-existing the death of Marissa Chen. This means if cameras have been implemented in the park, they are not in any way visible to the public. We then question, will there be a reduction in crime if the cameras are not visible? How will crime be reduced if there is no deterrence factor from these hidden cameras?
A positive safety measure we noticed was that there were gates for all the parking lots that close at 10 p.m., along with the signs informing the public when the gates close. Although the gates state they close at 10, we are unable to verify whether this is actually the case.
As we addressed earlier, there are measures the City of Burnaby and the RCMP say they have implemented. We cannot verify if any of these measures have indeed been implemented, as we did not find anything within the park. One thing that has certainly not been carried out is better lighting. It is critical to implement better lighting in order to have better surveillability in terms of natural surveillance, formal surveillance, and mechanical surveillance. Better lighting also creates a large deterrence factor, as well as improves the ability to detect a crime in progress.
The next issue to address is the cameras, which is one of the central issues. We cannot confirm or deny the existence of the cameras. Irregardless of the presence of the cameras, we argue that there is no deterrence factor of these cameras if they are not visible. We believe the cameras should be in plain sight and located at the key entrances and exits of the park. This would critically play into routine activity theory. As stated earlier, a key point to routine activity theory is the presence of a guardian. We believe cameras at the entrances and exits would improve the ability of the RCMP to monitor and respond to incidents in the park. But more importantly, the cameras would increase the perceived presence of a guardian. This would have a large deterrence impact, which is currently missing in the park.
The litter and low level of maintenance within the park must be addressed as well. We can see that improvements of park maintenance is important through the lens of broken windows theory. Broken windows theory states that places that appear disorderly will attract crime compared to places that are well kept. It is essential that the City of Burnaby ensure that the park is neat and tidy as well as free of vandalism. This could be done through several methods, such as volunteer work, increased city staff, or simply better supervision.
Another recommendation we have is to put in place the proposed RCMP bike patrol and increase the presence of bylaw enforcement. This is critical for several reasons. The RCMP bike patrol plays a key part in routine activity theory. It provides the presence of a guardian, but more importantly, it minimizes the chance for a motivated offender to find a suitable target. In addition to this, bike patrol creates a sense of safety and community by being less threatening than a normal patrol cop and having a better opportunity to interact with the public. Bylaw enforcement is also important to ensure that things such as littering, vandalism, and homelessness are minimized if not eradicated.
Signs and call boxes are our last recommendation for crime prevention methods in Burnaby Central Park. We propose having emergency call boxes at varied points within the park, such as along a trail. The benefit of these call boxes are that it gives people that are in trouble quick access to emergency services, as well as being able to give authorities the location of an individual. Signs are important so that the public is aware of where they are within the park. If something were to happen and a call box were not nearby, it would be important to at least know what trail you are on. Furthermore, the signs can also direct individuals to the nearest exit. Lastly, the signs and call boxes would contribute to making the park look safe and secure, therefore reducing the factors in broken windows theory.
There are financial considerations for our recommendations. However, we believe the benefits are most definitely worth the price. We tried several times to get a hold of the City of Burnaby, including calls and emails, and were given excuses and deferred to many other departments, each with a different answer for us. We did our own cost-benefit analysis. We analyzed general prices of things we wanted to implement to come up with the costs and came up with these numbers. We want 50 new lights at $6,000 apiece, costing a total of $300,000. 15 new cameras at $12,500 apiece, totaling $200,000. 20 call boxes at $7,500 apiece, costing $150,000, and $100,000 for improvements in signs throughout the park. We allotted $50,000 a year for maintenance, $100,000 a year for police, and $75,000 for bylaw enforcement. For the first year of implementation, the total cost would be just under $1 million at $975,000. The ongoing yearly cost of police, bylaw enforcement, and maintenance will be $225,000. We argue these costs are extremely low for the benefit of safety to the community. The community would no longer worry about incidents such as the murder of Marissa Shen or assaults and robberies on their loved ones. We intend to follow up on these measures in a few different ways. Follow-up is critical to understand if the measures put in place work and why, or adversely, why things do not work. We have 3 methods to employ to see if our recommendations work. First, we need to analyze the crime numbers. There needs to be a comparison of previous numbers to current crime numbers. It would be feasible and realistic to analyze these numbers 1 month, 6 months, and 1 year from implementation.
Another measure to employ is monthly evaluations of park cleanliness. The purpose of this is to make sure that the park is well maintained and remains in that fashion. This is also a method to evaluate bylaw enforcement as well as city staff on their ability to keep the park clean.
Lastly, are public opinion polls regarding safety and park enjoyment. To best evaluate public opinion, these polls will be done before implementation as well as 6 months and 1 year after all measures have been implemented. These opinion polls would be available to complete online, as well as there would be cards that can be filled out and put in drop boxes within the park. This would be critical because it evaluates whether or not the public feels safer in the park due to the measures. Overall, we would be able to evaluate real crime, perceived safety, as well as park maintenance with these evaluative measures.
In conclusion, we analyzed issues in Burnaby Central Park and provided a theoretical lens to explain these issues. We provided recommendations to help fix these issues within the park through environmental design. Lastly, we provided a quick cost-to-benefit analysis to